Michael, thank you for joining us, Michael Costello. As you know, we created this website called AZ Hillside Homes. We'd like to talk to people interested in building a hillside home, and who better to talk to than a general contractor with experience building hillside homes.
I
So, Michael,
agree.
thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me on. You're the man. You are the man.
Yeah, so first question, I guess, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and why you're uniquely suited to build these types of homes.
Okay. So Stonecreek Building Company, it was started 1993, I want to say, and it's a family business. So started by my father, Joe Costello. The company's comprised of myself, my brother Joseph, my dad, and Nate Fitch. He's our general field superintendent who he directly oversees everything that goes on in the field. And then at any given point, we'll have an assortment of assistant superintendents, just depending on the load. And we're set up pretty uniquely where I don't know how unique it is, but we're set up in a way that we're fairly flexible with how much we can take on because of the role that Nate plays, you know. And with custom home building, it's almost never, you're never like, I only run 5 projects at a time. It's not realistic because you have overlap and, so that's a little bit about Stone Creek Building. And we build homes in the greater Phoenix area, PV, Scottsdale mostly. We've got some stuff going on in the East Valley, but that is a little bit abnormal. But yeah, that's
Nice.
a little bit about us.
Yeah, and you've worked with some great architects I know over the years and built some quality homes. But yeah, I've enjoyed getting to know you too the last couple of months, years. Um, over breakfast, Butters. It's always a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah, shout out to Butters. Butters
Yeah.
breakfast in Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit. So if we're talking hillside homes, are there any things, let's compare it a little bit to a regular home built custom on a flat lot versus
Yeah.
something on a hill. Are there certain terms or certain things that are different, that someone who maybe even has experience building custom before, now they're switching to hillside, something on the construction side, what things they might want to know, and what kind of terms, or is the vocabulary a little bit different when you're talking hillside?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that, I mean, there are a lot of people that build custom homes, and I think that it gets narrowed down quite a bit when you're talking builders that, have the capacity or that have the ability to do custom homes on a hillside lot. And I think a lot of that lends itself to the difficulty of the construction because you're not dealing with, I mean, not that on a flat lot you have unlimited space for staging and things like that. You obviously are limited, but it's significantly easier to talk about like how you sequence things. You don't necessarily need to think about like, well, I can only pour this slab right now because in 6 months, you know what I mean? Like everything is essentially straightforward with the flat lot. Um, and so, I mean, you asked, I guess, a multi-part question, but there are a lot of terms that are involved with a hillside lot. Um, I mean, when you're dealing with the hillside lot, you're dealing with a significant a significant increase in the cost and the time just because to prep the lot to give yourself a canvas to even build on,
Hmm.
like we're talking, I'm on a job right now over in Paradise Valley that we've been doing earthwork for a year. And that's like you could build like 2 track homes in the time, like and we're just getting to the point where we're erecting steel. And typically that stage on a flat lot, like to get to the part where you're ready for steel, you're talking maybe a month. You're talking earthwork, you're talking concrete underground and everything. But it's a unique process. And so yeah, you do add, like I said, a significant amount of time and money into just prepping the lot, and depending on the person, it's worth it, because the hillside lots, they're rare. There's a limited amount of hillside lots, obviously, but the views are obviously a big part of why we're talking hillside lots. And then the difficulties that come with building on them. Like I said, you're doing a lot of earthwork, and so the general process of what, again, I'll refer back to this project I've been on for the last year. So for the last year, the process is you dig down, you dig a footing, you pour a footing. This one has concrete retaining walls. So you form your concrete walls, you pour your concrete walls, you waterproof the walls, and then you backfill. And then you do the process again, like six more times, depending on the lot. And this is a particularly difficult lot, and it's been a real challenge to work on, and it's been a lot of fun. But um, the term hillside is also very broad, like there's a hillside. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong because you know this better than I do, but is it just anything that's over a 10% slope?
It depends on the jurisdiction, but usually it's around 15% is where it starts being described as hillside. So
Okay.
depending on, if you're in PV, if you're in the county, they'll all have different definitions and
Okay.
then also different ordinances that govern what you can and cannot build
Okay.
if it's deemed hillside.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, so I mean, if you're building on a lot where it's just you're barely there with that 50% slope and it goes just across, and it's nice and easy, then obviously I would assume you're not going to be doing earthwork for a year on that. But this particular lot is like
right.
top of a crested hill, and we've got no room to work. It's all rock, so you're dealing with hard dig, which hard dig is a term that I don't know if everyone would be familiar with the term hard dig, but hard dig is essentially when you're doing excavation, and it's anything that you can't scoop with a regular bucket, essentially, and you've got to attach. Typically, you're doing a hammer attachment, and that makes it go significantly slower once you hit rock. So we hit
Yeah.
a lot of rock, have a lot of retaining walls that are in different levels because you've got to dig your lowest ones first, pour those, backfill those before you can dig the next level, essentially, and you kind of work your way up. So, yeah.
So it sounds like one of the major hillside terms maybe is for the homeowner. Maybe it's patience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All
Patience
right.
is definitely a term you'd use. Yeah, it is, and it's hard to. I mean, I've been superintending that project, and it's hard on your mental game because you're like nothing's happening, but it's just a slow process, and you're just moving dirt, and you've got to move dirt from one side to the other to be able to dig this over here, and then you don't want to get rid of all your dirt because you use it for backfill. And but yeah, it's tough on your mental. So just gotta stick it out. It's worth it.
All right. So yeah, so you said earthwork, but at least earthwork is not just moving ground, it's moving ground and you are building some retaining walls.
Correct. Yeah.
So you
So
get to see something.
yeah, and it. I'm using the term earthwork pretty loosely. It'd be more classified as site prep, I guess. You're prepping the pad, the building
Great.
pad. I don't know. I'm using terms now that I would think people would know, but yeah, your building pad, just essentially where you're going to be building your building to
Right.
get it flat, typically. In this particular project, there's multi levels, so you prep one level, you get that poured and ready to go, and then you prep another level adjacent, and you get that ready to go. So
Yeah, and you mentioned the word staging too. So preparing the building pad and then sequencing things because you don't want to get trapped somewhere and stuck where you can no longer access something, maybe down the hill or getting your
correct.
equipment through certain areas. So I don't know, it sounds like a complicated kind of process.
I mean, it is, and I think that's and I'm not trying to toot our own horn by any means, but at the very beginning we mentioned like there's a lot of builders, and there's not a lot of builders that can do hillside lots because it's just experience. And I feel like that's part of what makes Stone Creek uniquely suited for hillside lots because number one, everyone on our team is actively been on hillside projects. I mean, we do a lot of non-hillside projects as well, but everyone on our team has been on hillside projects at one point. Um, and every single one of our subs is very familiar with hillside projects, and I feel like that's having the right team is a big part of it as well. So
Nice, yeah. And I've heard stories, where a vehicle's coming down the site and it tips over or something like that.
yeah,
So it's kind of dangerous too.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, it is that has happened in the past.
Yeah. So what about anything else just generally if let's say a homeowner came to you guys or someone who wants to build a lot and they're in the very preliminary stages, what do you say to them if they're looking primarily at Hillside? What should they know before going into this kind of bigger, longer process?
It's a good question. Just they need to understand that their cost per square foot is going to be a decent amount higher. Just because you're essentially paying like we talked about. I've been on this project for a year, and we're just getting to the point where like on a flat lot, you would be much farther along. But also on a flat lot, like I said, to prep the canvas to be able to build, um, yeah, it's that prep costs money, so that just adds to your square foot cost. So we prep our clients with letting them know like, hey, this square footage cost is going to be higher than if you're looking at a flat lot, number one. Um, and it also we let them know like this is going to take a lot longer to build than a flat lot. So those are I think the mental things to prep for beforehand. And then I also think it's extremely important to get involved with an architect in the very beginning of while you're looking for a lot. I mean, that's obvious. We all know
Of
that, but
course, yeah, yeah.
but but when they're looking at the lot, like much more than we would have the knowledge and the insight of what's going to work with their lot and what's not. Like I think that's well worth, um, yeah, it's well worth it for them to get an architect involved in the very beginning that's very familiar with Hillside that can tell them like here's how you could have something sit on the lot. Here's you know what I mean. They can give them because on a flat lot it's pretty easy. You can kind of copy paste. You know, you have a floor plan. It's like this is my floor plan I want to use. But on a hillside lot, you want an architect that's going to design you something that works with the lot because every hillside lot's unique, you know, and so you don't want to. Yeah, you're gonna want an architect that knows what he's doing or she's doing on a hillside lot. So
I mean, I would agree, and I think it's also part of a larger team, including the interior design, builder, real estate agent from the beginning. Things like that make a big difference, and getting everyone together is the name of the game in general. But when you're talking Hillside, I agree it's much more difficult, and I think the project needs to be much more site specific.
for
You
sure.
mentioned you mentioned views before. I agree we got to capitalize on those views. That's one of the main reasons people buy Hillside. But even finding ways to work with the topography, and then if we have that relationship with a builder, say someone like Stone Creek, and we could talk through things early on in the process, that helps us a lot too. As far as even the staging thing, say how are we gonna once we pour the pool, how are we gonna, I don't know, how do we get there afterwards?
Yeah.
Or just certain sequencing type things where if we're communicating with you guys early on, we could definitely address those. And if you're on the same vision page where this is the overall dream, this is the end result that we're trying to get for our homeowners, and all that, then we can make it all work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like we've spoken before about this, but I think the earlier you can get a team together, the better. Um, for a lot of reasons. And typically with projects we're brought on a lot of times after everything's been designed, and we're not complaining about that, but to make that process better, it would be getting the builders selected and involved from the very beginning, from the preliminary stages, even to conceptual stages of like, hey, I know that this is really cool, but just we bring the practical aspect of we just let them know where their money's going to be spent, and the homeowner is the one that's going to make the decision on is that worth it to them or is it not. And so, but a lot of times they might feel back into a corner after we're brought in late in the game, and it's like, well, this is already designed, and it's like this is awesome, and this is like your dream thing, but it's going to cost you X, Y, and Z to do the cool things over here that maybe they didn't understand that they were going to be paying a premium for, if that makes sense.
It does, and that's why it's nice for us too to have a builder on board early, because
Yeah.
we've tried to estimate things, but we're dreamers too, and
Yeah.
we're optimists.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not going to cost that much, but this will be awesome.
We try and bring the reality back, you know. We try
Yeah,
not to crush the dreams, but we'll just
that's
let
right.
people know.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good for us too, and that is part of what we do is we know cost of things kind of more generally. You guys are in the thick of it, so you guys know
Yeah.
it like almost up to the minute kind of how much, what pricing is at now. And you guys know it that pricing changes all the time,
Yeah.
right? It could be a month and like something happens and now steel costs X amount more.
Yep.
Where we're usually factoring in our price estimates or what we think things are going to cost based on maybe a previous project that finished a year ago
Yeah.
and the pricing came. So it's hard sometimes for us to get that good up to the minute type pricing,
Mm.
which is why we like to have someone like you involved pretty early.
We love being involved early. It makes it go smoother for everyone, I think. So,
Nice. Well, hey, this has been great, Michael. Thank you
dude,
very much.
you're the man. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks for making it happen. I know, like I said, you're a busy man, and yeah. Let me know if there's ever anything else we need to talk about with Hillside. We can be of
Again,
service.
we'll talk it over Mountain of Pancakes.
All right. Hey, I'm never opposed to that.